everyone, this video is going to be about veganism and just answering some questions about going vegan. So I put up a story on Instagram and I've asked if you wanted to send through any questions you had about going vegan, so I'm going to be answering some of those now. So I've got the questions written here, I'm going to go through them. How long have you been vegan? So I've been vegan for almost 6 years. I don't remember the exact date that I went vegan. It was in the end of July or the beginning of August, but in about 2 months it'll be 6 years. I was also vegetarian for about a year before going vegan. Why did you go vegan? I went vegan for the animals. Basically, I always felt guilty eating meat and I always said I wanted to go vegetarian. I didn't really know much about veganism back then. So I pretty much went vegetarian to begin with, and I did that because I wanted to contribute less to the suffering of animals. I didn't want to eat animals anymore. I always felt bad eating animals and eating meat. About a year into being vegetarian, I started to learn a little bit more about factory farming, about the dairy industry and the egg industry, and I had a few friends who were vegan. Once that seed was planted about veganism and why people go vegan, I pretty much had made the decision. I kept thinking it was going to be so hard and so challenging to go vegetarian to begin with, and then it wasn't as hard as I thought. Then when I wanted to go vegan, I thought that was going to be super hard as well. It always feels like it's going to be so challenging and you feel like you're not going to be able to eat anything or go out anywhere, but now, honestly, it's not even something you think about in your day-to-day life. I basically chose to go vegan so that my actions would align with my beliefs. Did you get bloated when you first went vegan? Yes, I actually started to get quite bloated when I first went vegetarian, and again when I first went vegan. I keep seeing in the Facebook groups where people tell you there's a 2-week adjustment period where your body adjusts to going vegan. I don't know why so many people say it's 2 weeks, because honestly I still get bloated. I think your body gets a little more sensitive, and slowly you'll start to learn which foods are the ones that make you feel bloated. Sometimes it doesn't go away, you just continue to get bloated occasionally. That's just how it is. Is it more expensive or cheaper to eat plant-based? So I know a lot of people think eating plant-based is quite expensive. It just depends on the kinds of food you eat. It also depends on your location and where you live and how accessible foods are to you. For example, in Australia, plant-based meats and plant-based cheeses can be quite expensive. So if you do eat a lot of those, it can be expensive, but regular meat and regular cheese is honestly not that cheap either. There's not a huge price difference. If you eat meat and cheese as it is, it's not going to be much cheaper than eating the vegan option. If you eat things like more veggies, more produce, nuts and seeds, lentils and chickpeas, those are always going to be a little bit cheaper in the long run. How can vegan be budget friendly? I think meal prepping is probably a good way to go with budgeting. Frozen veggies and frozen fruits are a great option because they're a lot more cost effective than fresh produce. Also using things like dried lentils and dried beans. Obviously vegan meats and cheeses are going to be a bit more pricey, so eating more whole foods is going to be more budget friendly. Always look for specials, and some supermarkets will have a shelf where they'll have rejected produce or oddly shaped produce. I know Harris Farm does this, and that can be a really good option at finding bargains. Do you get cravings for meat, and how did you get rid of them? Occasionally I'll get cravings for something like sausages, but I only really want the vegan sausages. I don't actually get a craving for actual real meat. I never really got cravings for real meat. I think once you stop having that, your body does adjust and you don't really crave that taste anymore. I also think the smell of meat does adjust after a while. Before going vegan, I used to hear some vegetarian people say, oh, meat smells bad, and I thought they were just being dramatic. But then now, some meat can smell so strong. Chicken to me doesn't have a smell, but beef smells disgusting. Like, it's so strong. I think having so many vegan meat options available, especially where I live in Australia, is so amazing, and we're so lucky, because anytime I feel like eating sausages or a burger or nuggets, I can just go and get that from the supermarket. So it definitely helps with getting those sorts of cravings. And I know so many people say that processed food is so bad, and a lot of people want to go vegan for health issues, but if you do enjoy meat, these options make it so much easier to transition, or so much easier to have meat-free meal options throughout the week. Do you miss non-vegan food after going vegan? So I don't miss meat. There's not many foods that I miss because I can find vegan options for almost anything. The one thing I occasionally get cravings for is egg. I used to love egg before going vegan. So sometimes I'll get this weird craving for an egg sandwich, like a toasted cheese egg sandwich with hard-boiled egg, because I used to love that. Occasionally I'll just get this strong craving for egg. I love scrambled tofu with a bit of black salt in there. It doesn't taste like egg to me, but definitely helps with those cravings. I've never had a craving for anything so bad that I actually wanted to go and eat it. Does vegan cheese taste like real cheese? Probably not, to be honest, but I've forgotten what cheese tastes like. Very much satisfied with the vegan cheese options we have. Yes, there are a couple of bad ones, but there's so many amazing vegan cheeses out there. There's so many Australian cheese makers out there. We're so lucky. When you say you're vegan, a lot of people will say, what about cheese? I love cheese. I love cheese too. And sometimes I live on cheese. You don't have to give up cheese when you go vegan. Is spontaneous travel hard in terms of finding somewhere to eat? Yes, it can be quite difficult. As a vegan, I've travelled to London, but that was so easy. London is amazing for vegan food. I've been to Turkey as a vegan. That was difficult. Even though they've got a lot of veggie food options, they use dairy in everything. Everything has cheese, everything has yogurt, everything has milk, butter. There's a lot of meat heavy meals. I couldn't see soy milk anywhere, and it was so hard to find a cafe that would do a coffee with soy milk. Where else have I been? Oh, I went to Italy. Just to Rome. It was a little difficult in Rome. Again, I couldn't find soy milk anywhere, so I couldn't have a coffee with milk. I just had black coffee. The whole time I was there, I ate the same thing every single day, which was a marinara pizza, which is just the pizza with the tomato sauce. But honestly, their tomato sauce is so amazing. I could eat that pizza every day. Using an app like Happy Cow can really help because it looks at your location and tells you what you can find nearby. I think definitely doing some research, looking at where you're staying, cooking for yourself can be super helpful. I had to just make do with what I could find. I think I just had to eat a lot of hot chips, a lot of breads, just veggies, that sort of thing. It can be difficult, but it's doable. Changes in you after being vegan. So before going vegan, I had very low iron and high cholesterol. I was pretty much told my whole adult life that I have high cholesterol, and they'd always say, oh, you've got olive skin, it must be inherited, you've just got high cholesterol. After going vegan, my iron levels got super high and my cholesterol went right down. I used to take iron supplements before going vegetarian because my iron was so low, and now I don't need to take them anymore because my iron levels are pretty great. As a vegan, I've started to eat more and more vegetables, a lot more greens, and I've started to pay more attention to my nutrition, which obviously shows because my vitamin levels are the best that they've ever been. Does going vegan make you lose weight? No, it doesn't. I know it's common for people to try veganism because they want to lose weight. You're not going to lose weight just by going vegan. In fact, I used to find it easier to stay leaner before I went vegan because eating meat would help me stay full for longer and I didn't have to eat a lot of carbs. Whereas after I went vegan, you find that even when you eat a well-balanced meal, you'll get hungry again in an hour and a half to 2 hours. So you just want to eat carbs because you want to stay full. You just want to keep eating. So sorry to tell you, but no, you're probably not going to lose weight. But this isn't about losing weight. This is about a lifestyle change. What are the obstacles while transitioning to a plant-based diet? So when you transition to a plant-based diet, obviously food is the biggest obstacle. Our lives pretty much revolve around food, and you're going to end up needing to change how you eat, how you cook. It can be more challenging depending where you live and how accessible and available food is to you, how affordable food is to you. I think learning to cook definitely makes life much easier. I definitely didn't know how to cook before I went vegan, and I think it helps so much to learn a couple of recipes, pick a few things, maybe pick 2 recipes for food that you enjoyed before going vegan, and slowly try to transition them into a vegan recipe. Once you start getting more comfortable in the kitchen, add another recipe. You'll find life is so much easier when you can cook for yourself and make your own food. Also, other vegans can be so judgy. Maybe stay off the Facebook vegan groups because they can be very judgmental. How many Drag Race queens are vegan? I should know this. The only ones I can think of are Courtney Act and Bimini. Are there others? What else do we have? How should we manage the diet routine and take care of our nutrients while going vegan? I think it's important to do some research into nutrition. I think it's important to look into the foods you eat, how many grams of protein and iron and calcium and vitamins you're getting from each food. I think it's important to regularly get blood tests to check your vitamin levels. You don't want your levels to be low. You need to take B12 supplements. I know some vegans will tell you that they don't need supplements because they're so healthy, but B12 supplements are essential. You can't get B12 other than from an animal product, so you need to take B12. I need to say this to myself because I always forget to take my B12. Do you have slip-ups? I think we all do this. You'll buy something, you'll forget to check the ingredients, and then later you'll get home and you'll look at it and it won't be vegan. It'll probably have milk solids or something like that. It happens to all of us. If you do have a slip up, you can't beat yourself up over it. Just let it go, move on. Tomorrow is a new day. If you're interested in going vegan or just trying to go vegan for a week or doing a 30-day vegan challenge or even just trying to cut down meat, Do what works for you, go at your own pace, and celebrate your small steps because every bit counts. I hope this video has been helpful. If you have any more questions, just leave me a comment below and I'll answer them as best as I can. Remember that the animals will thank you for it.